Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my mom, certified life coach, and co-host, Tracy. And we're excited to be back for another episode.
Yes, we are. And it is the start of fall. I feel it in the air. Football season is here. Fantasy teams all over the place. I'm going to a homecoming football game tonight.
I feel kind of offended that nobody warned me that fall was coming so fast. It's like we left for our trip and we came back and it was fall. And nobody warned me that summer was about to be done. And now I feel like
oblivious, party of one, your table is ready.
It's weird because I feel like I'm usually very well prepared and ready for fall. And I remember an episode that I was like, I'm so excited for fall and it's my favorite season ever. This year, for whatever reason, I'm like, how is it already fall? I don't want it to be fall. I want more summer. I want to be in the sun. It's the opposite mindset that I had a year ago. I don't really know what happened, but I do love fall. I just don't feel the excitement for it right now.
You have time.
Do I? Because you blink and fall's gone.
I actually think we're going to have a long fall.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, it's still pretty darn warm. Yesterday, it was like 90 some odd. No, it was like 90 degrees.
It was not 90 degrees.
Well, 2 days ago it was.
No, it was like 80 degrees.
I'm pretty sure it was 90.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's still hot.
Why are people saying it's fall?
Because kids have went back to school and football has started. And Starbucks has launched
pumpkin
with their
spice.
Pumpkin spice.
Okay, I do not care about Starbucks at all. I don't like Starbucks. But my local coffee shop, definitely, I haven't checked, but they definitely have their pumpkin spice. It is my all-time favorite coffee ever. I never liked it before we moved and I tried it. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever had. How have I never had pumpkin spice anything before? And now I don't think I really like it in other things though. But this coffee, unreal.
Oh, I'll have to go try it.
Yeah, unreal.
That's what I love most about where you live is that you have
so many fun things.
Coffee shops, great restaurants.
Like and it's minutes away from everything.
And there's so much within walking distance.
Oh, yeah. Can walk to grocery stores, which is just
weird. That's not how we were raised.
No. I grew up 30-minute drive from any grocery store and in the boonies. And
I'll tell you what, though, urban kids would probably love to experience a life out in the country, wide open spaces.
I really did not think I was going to like living this close to the city before moving. I was very sold on that. I grew up so far outside of the city that I was like, there's no way I'm going to hate it. And literally day one of moving, I felt so at home. And then realizing that I can walk to the grocery store and it's so active out here. There's always people walking and so many good trails and so many good things to do outside. This isn't so bad.
You just remember where you're from, Missy.
I do. I respect the farm life, too. We didn't grow up on a farm, but my dad did. So
Grandpa's still on a farm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. This is episode 45. We're creeping up on the year mark.
That's so wild.
And submission 1 is from Todd. And it says, I'm a 41-year-old single guy with a great job in construction. I met a girl at New Year's Eve and we hit it off immediately. Everything was going well for the first 5 months, but then she told me she felt we rushed into a relationship. We had talked about marriage and kids within those 5 months, but she wanted to take a break for 2 months. We eventually started talking again and things fell back into place. My family and friends love her, and she even made plans with my mom and cousins. However, she recently pulled back again. She's 35 and going through a career change, which includes full-time school and a part-time job. She explained that her life is too hectic for a relationship right now, but maybe when things settle down, we can date again. Part of me wants to move on, but a deeper part wants to give her space. She's had a tough childhood with emotional abandonment from her parents, and her past dating life has been plagued with cheating, emotional, and physical abuse. She told me I'm her first healthy relationship. I've been understanding of her past and feelings. I'm not sure what to do. I'm fully committed to her and want to be the one who changes her life for the better, but it seems to be a recurring cycle. She has been in therapy at various times in her life, but stopped before we met. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Please contact me for more information. We get a lot of submissions that say, please contact me for more information.
After they write like a book.
Just know that we've never, ever actually reached out for more information.
Say that in the submission. Please leave your email so that we can contact you if we need more information.
Oh,
so that
they say that. Gotcha.
Which is fair. Like, we definitely have had submissions that we couldn't use because there wasn't enough information, but we get so many submissions that it unfortunately is easier for us to just use a different one than have the time lag of reaching out for you to get back to us and things like that. So that's why we haven't reached out to anybody asking for more information. If you don't leave it in the first submission, a lot of times you guys leave it in the first submission and then you tell us to contact you if we need more, which we appreciate. Obviously, it's good to have all the details so that we can help you the best.
Well, and Todd, thank you so much for such a thoughtful submission. He wants an answer on whether or not he should wait and give her space or move on. And we did talk about this before we started recording, and I think we both agree that it's probably time for you to move on and to continue to pursue your dating life. You sound like a very caring, thoughtful man, but what you cannot control is her healing journey. You can't control what it is that she wants. You can only control your thoughts and feelings. And you've already done the pause and reconnection. It seems like there's a pattern because now she's saying, okay, again, life is too hectic. Your thoughts are, if I'm patient enough, I can be the man who heals her.
Never the case.
Emotional adulthood really asks us to love without trying to manage another person's choice.
You can decide that. The hardest part is, of course, you care a lot about her and you want to see the best for her and you want to be the person that changes her life for the better. But at the end of the day, that's just not in your control. She has to make those decisions. If she decides she wants you in her life, it should be from a place of wanting you to add value to her life. I think that's how all partnerships should be, is you equally are adding value to each other's lives, but not saving each other. Yeah. She needs to work through these things. If she was at a place where it made sense and she could work through them and be in a relationship, then fine. But it should never, ever be, and I hear this so often, you trying to save her or make her life better. She has to be the one that ultimately decides that for herself.
Right. That is not fair to you. That's not what you want to set the rest of your life up for. This relationship cycling, also known as on again, off again relationships, research shows that 1/3 to 2/3 of people involved in those relationships report that they are at least or minimally lower quality relationships, but most of them report that they just don't last. So you're seeing the pattern that is giving you insight into what the future is going to be.
The phrase, I think we need to take a break, is always the start of the end. It just is. What it translates to is, I don't know how to tell you that I don't feel this anymore. I want this to be over and I don't want to hurt you. And so this is the softer landing, the in between. I don't think anybody does it with malicious intent. I have done this before for those exact reasons, not wanting to hurt the other person, being scared myself to break things off completely. And what comes with a breakup, it always is scarier to make a big decision like that. That's what it means. That ultimately, if she is asking to take a break, it's because she has had thoughts about breaking up and she doesn't know how to communicate it. And it sucks. And nobody wants to be in that position. But at the end of the day, like my mom just said, you don't deserve to be somebody's maybe or somebody's backfall, that place to land in case. No, she's telling you right now that, or 2 months ago or however many months ago, where you guys took that 2-month break, she's telling you right there that she doesn't see this lasting. Yeah. And so anytime you hear that, I want to caution this for everybody listening. That does not mean hold out hope and hope for things to change. Unfortunately, that is the outcome. Is it usually is leading to a breakup.
Yeah. And your compassion, Todd, is a beautiful thing. but I want you to have that same sort of compassion and love for yourself. Have your standards. Decide right now that you aren't the person who waits, that you've already been through this cycle once. And often the time that it takes to benefit from some sort of trauma healing or therapy, those conditions are usually measured in weeks to a few months, not years. I think it is time for you to move on. And a clean way of moving forward is with the belief or with the thought that I only engage in mutual, consistent relationships. I don't do the maybe laters. That's a value, not a verdict. That's going to really help you stay grounded and feel really good about moving on. If you are still in conversations with her, telling her you care about her and that you hear her when she says life is full, but letting her know that you're available for a committed relationship right now. And if that isn't what she wants, then you're going to take a step back and wish her well. Mm-hmm. That's going to be your boundary. And a boundary isn't an ultimatum. It's not a threat. It's the way you're going to conduct yourself. That's the kind of standard that somebody like you deserves to have for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it's never as cut and dry as just walking away. It always feels so much bigger than that. You guys have had a history and spent quite a bit of time together. And so it makes sense why you're holding on to this. But I think at the end of the day, you deserve to prioritize you, and she does too. And if this is what it means for her to prioritize herself and to get herself to a place that she feels good with, you got to respect that and respect yourself too.
The respect and the confidence that you're going to experience is literally going to come from allowing yourself to feel the discomfort that for sure is going to happen. You holding your boundary is not going to be comfortable, but trusting yourself that you can allow that feeling, knowing that you're following through on what you said you're going to do, is the way to build self-confidence and self-respect. And I would say that if, and only if, she requests a structured restart, before you re-engage, you have to require a mutual plan that assures this pattern has been broken. You're going to have to really establish what your common goals are. Are we exclusive?
What are we working towards? What is the goal here? And also what's changed? Getting really clear on what's changed. If you don't see big changes for both of you, it doesn't make sense, because this is a very real thing. And obviously it's already happened before, where she may start to miss you and want to come back because she misses you, but not necessarily because she thinks this is a good fit. It sucks being pulled back into it only to be thrown right back into the same pattern of her walking away after a few months. Absolutely, you should have standards and boundaries for yourself. Unless I hear this, unless I get this answer, I can't move forward.
Right. And I think also requiring that you both agree to reaching out for support. Obviously, past trauma and stress there's a high potential that would continue to impact your relationship. And so having an agreement that you'll both get the support that you need if and when that starts to happen.
Totally.
Also, there are no more breaks. If the break happens again, you're done.
Just be a flat out rule for absolutely everyone. Breaks are equivalent to breakups. And if somebody is trying to say, let's take a break, you really need to pause and decide for yourself that you do not go on relationship breaks. Because if somebody wants to walk away, that is on them. And if they're not willing to work through it in the relationship together, then it is not going to work. Don't ever accept a relationship break, because a few months down the road, you're probably going to end up wishing you had just walked away.
I want to wrap this up with a couple mindset shifts. We always advise you to hold the position of being the chooser. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose. So hold that posture. Upgrade your story from I can change her life to I can change my life by choosing relationships that are ready for me. Recognize that there are no perfect choices, only chosen consequences. Make your best decision with what you know, decide that it's right for you, and go for it. Build the trust in yourself by making very intentional decisions, knowing what your values are, and going for it. You're never going to know unless you take action, but take action with very deliberate decisions.
It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened, it's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every single interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your guys' feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal.
Submission 2 is written in by Drew, and it says, I'm diving into past episodes for dating guidance as I try to get back into the dating scene. Your podcast has been really informative, and I appreciate the work you do. I'm a finance professional in my late 30s who enjoys cooking, reading, exercising, and traveling. My romantic history is lacking. With only one short relationship in my late 20s and rare second dates, I'm not very active on the dating apps, so my dating experiences are infrequent. I value my friendships with women and prioritize respecting boundaries, which sometimes leads to being seen as safe and not as a romantic option. Your episode on this topic helped me understand why, and I'm grateful for that. Currently, I'm struggling with finding my footing on Hinge. One of the main issues is that I don't see myself as attractive. Although friends have reassured me, I tend to dismiss their compliments as they're just being nice. A couple of experiences have reinforced this belief. A few years ago, I asked somebody out and she publicly called me a 6 and said I deserve a 10 on social media. More recently, a new friend described me as decent looking and then went on to talk about her handsome ex and very handsome friend. These interactions confirmed my negative self-perception. Despite my efforts, my confidence has taken a hit. I don't like the way I look and I can't imagine anyone else finding me attractive. I've matched with a few people on the dating apps, but I'm feeling anxious about meeting them. I worry that my lack of confidence will be obvious when we meet, even though my photos are current and unfiltered. Do you have any advice on how to feel more comfortable with one's appearance when faced with negative or perceived negative comments?
I chose this one for a reason. I had read through this a couple times and it breaks my heart. And I, of course, want to throat punch the girl who said you're a 6.
I cannot imagine saying that to someone's face. Guys tell me this and I'm like, are you sure you heard them right? Fuck anybody that's going to say that to you. Seriously.
Anybody who even has a rating system like that.
Everybody has that. You hear people saying that about themselves all the time. I'm a whatever on the scale. I'm not that, I don't know, black and white. I don't know. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. And I always say this to my clients and they always look at me a little bit sideways. You're just telling me that to make me feel better. Attraction builds. There are plenty of guys that I was not attracted to right out of the gate. And then I got to know them better and I got to know things about them that we had in common. And then all of a sudden, I'm super attracted and want to spend more time with them and want to get to know them more and then have interest in being in a relationship. Relationships are built off of more than just physical attraction. Attraction builds. So subjective. I just answered a question like this on my Instagram story of a guy saying, what are the best haircuts for men? And I think it's hilarious when I see other dating coaches being like, this is the style that men should have, or this is the hairstyle that the hottest guys have, or this is how you should keep your beard or facial hair. That is so subjective. I have such a different opinion on what I think is physically attractive than almost every single one of my friends. We all have different opinions on what we think is attractive. And I literally thought about this, like my best friend in high school, her and her now fiance, they just got engaged. But this was a forever debate between the two of us. I laugh thinking about it now, but she always used to tell her now fiance, but boyfriend at the time, I love your hair long, stop cutting it. And I would be like, no, you should cut it. I think it looks so much better short. And it was a joke between the two of us. She would get mad when I would say that because she's like, Gracie, stop. It's my boyfriend. Let me have his hair how I want it.
That you say that because I only conjure up images of him with short hair. I don't really remember him having long hair. Yeah.
Sam?
Mm-hmm.
And when he played hockey? Always had long hair when he was playing hockey. And it was
a long time ago.
You look so good with your haircut. Like, you should get that again. I love shorter haircuts. Longer hair is not my thing. I'm not saying it's not attractive or that guys can't pull it off. They absolutely can. And there are girls that love it that way and don't want it short. So like, it is just so subjective. If we were to sit here and be like, most guys like brunettes, so I should probably dye my hair brunette. I like my hair blonde. And I know that there are guys that only date brunettes. It is what it is. Get over it. I get it. I understand that you want the preference. You want to know what looks good and whatever, but you should be very careful about who you're listening to. Even your friend, that your so-called friend, she sounds like she sucks, but whoever this lady is, you should be very careful about what kind of advice or comments you're listening to. Her preferences are her preferences only. Then you ask the next girl and she might say something completely different. So It's like, I get it. And that would suck to hear. But I think that is something that I wish I could really drill into guys' heads, because I think that they get really caught up on the height and the hairstyle and the job, and everybody likes something differently. Yes, there are general preferences, and I feel like we give those to you guys on this podcast specifically, but I'm never going to sit here and be like, the trend is short hair right now, so everybody should be cutting their hair short or you're never going to get a girlfriend. It's just so baffling to me.
My advice is not based on what this woman says or thinks. My advice is based on what you think. If you don't like the way you look, change it.
Exactly. That was my thought too.
There's so much that you can do to change your appearance.
Especially nowadays.
You can cut your hair, or you can grow your hair out, or you can lose weight, or you can change the way you dress and the way that you...
There's so many things that you could do if you really want to do. If it really was interrupting your day and you just hate the way you look and feel unattractive, there are things you can do.
100%. And the only reason why you should do those things is because you want to.
Exactly.
Not for any other reason, because the way you think is what is going to drive your feelings.
Yeah.
So right now, you're thinking that you're a 6, or that you're not attractive, or that women will never find you attractive, which hurts your feelings, which makes you feel insignificant or defeated or rejected. But if you do the things to change your appearance and you start actually even feeling neutral about your appearance, you're going to behave differently. You're going to put yourself out there more. The only reason why we are saying, if you don't like the way you look, then do something to change it, is because we want you to feel differently.
Yeah. You obviously can't change your height or things like that. We get write-ins about that all the time. But like the things that you have control over, if you don't like them about yourself, then absolutely you should be trying to change them. When you look good, or when you think you look good, you feel good. And it's no different from why we dye our hair blonde and why we wear makeup. We do things every single day to change our appearance to make ourselves feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're in that place where you're like, I just don't like the way I look, well, let's figure out why. Let's figure out what things you don't like and what's within your control. Anything that's not, it's not something for you to worry about.
Those remarks feel really loud and true because humans overweight negative input. The negativity bias shows that equal amounts of good and bad always tip toward the bad. The bad is like being more memorable. It's way more powerful, which means, one mean or careless comment can drown out 10 sincere compliments.
Mm-hmm.
And so
like he's hearing all these other compliments and getting evidence that other people feel differently than the few that are telling him otherwise.
Right. And so it's important that you manage your mind, because if you don't, your brain is going to do what everybody else's fear-based brain does, and it's going to give way more weight to those negative comments.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a pattern called appearance-based rejection sensitivity, and it's a tendency to expect rejection because of looks. So you are out there scanning for
People's disapproval.
Yep. Or any signs of the slightest.
Like, she doesn't find me attractive.
Yep.
And a lot of it probably, like, if you were to really dig into it, this one-off situation where the chick told you what she thought your rating was or whatever, outside of those, and just looking at what's really being said, what's actually being told to you versus
interpreting
in
it.
your head. Yeah. Like, what are the facts versus the drama that your fear-based brain likes to make up? I have lots of clients that'll come to me, and it's so normal, but they'll be like, well, I saw this girl and immediately thought she's out of my league, so she doesn't want to talk to me. What league?
Their
You just
league.
decided what she's going to think about you before you even gave her a chance to think something about you. That's
Right.
what actually just happened. I think that there's probably things like that you experience. It's doing is that confirmation bias of, well, yeah, then I must not be attractive. And all of that was made up in your head.
The reason why we're explaining this to you is so that you can name it. When you start feeling bad or rejected or unworthy, we want you to see it as a mental habit that you can interrupt instead of reacting from it. Know that this is just the neuroscience of your fear-based brain, and it happens to everyone. And unless you get intentional and interrupt it, you're going to keep playing in this loop and you're not going to move forward. And so that's why we explain it. It is a little complicated and it's very sciencey, but it's the reality of how the human brain is designed.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you have had these experiences. That is so uncalled for. I don't know. You need to get new friends, my guy. It's weird to me that people think that they have the authority to say something like that to somebody. It's just so uncalled for and so subjective. It's not fair to take that one circumstance or other people's comments and make them the standard. Physical appearance or attractiveness is so subjective.
The next time that story replays in your mind, remind yourself that that was one person's perspective or that's her taste. And you can be like, okay, noted. I like the way I look now. Maybe she wasn't wrong at that point in time, but I've done things I'm happy with and I feel good about, and I've moved on. So you can let it go. Like, these are the things that are really holding you captive. So it's less about changing your physical appearance and it's way more about changing your mindset.
Yeah, somebody that I follow preaches when it comes to other people's opinions, if somebody says something that he doesn't agree with or something hurtful, he chooses to think the thought, they prefer to operate their life in a way that I would not choose. And they have preferences in their life that I would not choose for myself, for my life. It is what it is. He talks about how he gets comments all the time from people being nasty, and sometimes the 20th one that comes in an hour starts to get to you. That's always his go-to thought. They choose to live life in a way that I would not choose, or I live my life in a way that they don't prefer. It neutralizes, takes all the drama out of it. Drew, you could go sit in my comment section for about 10 minutes and read the comments. Like, the crazy, wildest shit gets said on there.
And it takes every ounce of self-control to not fire back at them as her mom and be like, do you have any idea who is sitting here reading your nasty comment?
Yeah,
to be ashamed of yourself. Do you kiss your mom with that mouth?
Yeah. I mean, there's just like so many, there's just always going to be people like that. And it's weird. It's kind of, it's just like, I see those comments and I'm like, and now I try that thought on. Like, I definitely do not choose to live my life that way. I definitely do not prefer to live my life that way. And so I'm not going to sit here and get bent out of shape over somebody else's
that you don't even know.
That I don't even know, but that preference that I definitely do not agree with or choose for my own life. It is what it is.
And if I don't agree with somebody's opinion, instead of fighting to be right, my go-to thought is, I can let them be wrong. I don't say it out loud, but that's my thought. I have the capacity to let them be wrong. And that allows me to move on. I've just kind of come to a place in my life where it's not often where I have to be right. I used to be that person for sure, and I'm not anymore. I would much rather be united than be right. And I think that's kind of what we see going on in politics right now. Both sides want so desperately to be right that we're missing the plot of being a united country. Hopefully, more people will be able to see themselves and see their own position, their own unique position could change to not having to be right anymore. You can allow the other side to be wrong and continue to move forward. So I hope, Drew, that some of our thoughts and our advice helps you. It really, truly is going to come down to what it is that you believe about yourself. Preferences about looks typically don't predict desirability. It has much more to do with kindness, values, confidence, and how you present yourself, the way you make eye contact and the way you smile at people. Like that has so much more to do with who it is that you are and how people connect with you than your height, your weight, or anything else about your outward looks. So we can sit here and preach that all day long. You have to work hard on that belief.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want help working on those beliefs, if it's something that you struggle with to get past yourself, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you manage those thoughts and really work on them and inevitably increase your confidence, because really that's what's holding you back right now. The self-sabotaging beliefs.
Yep. The membership that Gracie has every single Tuesday, I do an hour-long group coaching call, and it typically rallies around confidence.
Mm-hmm.
There's other group coaching calls that are focused on the tactical best practices of dating. And then there's also one-on-one call options to really dig deep on your particular circumstance. For anyone listening, that membership is a gold mine for people serious about changing the way they think and feel about any circumstance in their life.
Mm-hmm. Serious about getting new results in their dating life.
Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her.
Submission 3 is from Anonymous. I'm a 51-year-old with 2 teenagers and was previously married. My last relationship, which lasted for 3 years, was with the love of my life, and I had believed she was the one I would grow old with. It took me some time to move on from her, and I have been single for over a year now. Recently, I joined a dating app and have had matches. The conversations have been going well, and we have exchanged numbers. I prefer not to talk extensively on WhatsApp and usually ask to meet for a drink or coffee. However, I often receive a reply saying they will let me know, but they never do. Should I ask again or move on? I'm confused as to why they would give me their number and respond to my messages but not want to meet. Additionally, I have faced the issue of not feeling a connection or a romantic spark on the first date. Is this normal? Does it mean I'm not ready to date again? Any advice would be appreciated.
All right. Well, there's a lot here. It sounds like the apps is a struggle, but then it sounds like even when you're getting off the apps and onto those first couple dates, or even just the first date, you're struggling to make any real connections that you're interested in. I think with the dating apps, one follow-up. That's it. That's all you need. If she doesn't get back to you, doesn't take you up on it, do not follow up again. One follow-up. And it's reasonable, especially if they're coming off the apps, because she's getting a lot of messages on her end. It's reasonable that you maybe slipped through the cracks or somebody else got to her before you. It's the unfortunate reality of dating apps. They move really quick and there's a lot of people on them, and women are seeing typically a lot higher of a volume than men in terms of being asked out on dates, for sure. But then like even getting matches and getting messages and things like that. And so it's reasonable to send one follow-up. Beyond that, it's not reasonable to keep trying. If you get her off the dating app, which is always the goal, get off the dating app as soon as possible, like literally within the same day that you match. Do not sit on the apps for longer than a few days max. And once you're off the apps, make sure that you're making that ask for the date as soon as possible as well. Sounds like you do that. And if they don't take you up on it on the first one, send one follow-up and just chalk it up to she maybe has gotten a lot of messages. She maybe has other dates lined up right now, or maybe she just isn't making this a priority right now. To be fair, you're strangers, so she doesn't owe that to you, right? Just like you don't owe that to any stranger either.
Probably like an overwhelming amount of choices because the dating apps favor women. So you have to recognize that.
The apps are very skewed. There's a lot more men than women on the apps. And so it's just naturally that's going to mean that women are getting a lot more attention than men are. And so, yes, that initial like getting out on a date, it is a lot more for the guys on the front end, but it's worth it if you're getting out on dates and connecting with women you're interested in. So one follow-up, and if no response, move on. The confusion on why they would give you their number and then not respond to messages. They like the attention. It's an ego boost. They thought about going on a date with you and then somebody else came along. They thought about going on a date with you and then decided they didn't want to, or maybe it took too long for you to ask her out. Like there's a million different reasons and none of them are helpful. Like unless it's like a message or you're following up with 3 or 4 messages, that's probably why she didn't respond. Outside of that, the volume's just crazy and there's a lot going on. It is the unfortunate reality for a lot of men on the apps.
Yeah. And then the no spark on the first date, whether or not that's normal, think it is normal. Like Gracie just said, these are strangers and becoming familiar with somebody is something that takes time. People probably are more likely to warm up over that second kind of like date or encounter. So instead of thinking about whether or not there was a firework or a spark, maybe ask yourself, was I left feeling curious? Like, do I want to know more? Let that be the measure.
Did I enjoy my time with her? Do I want to spend more time with her? Would I have fun going on another date with her? That's all you need to think about for a first date. It's not, is she the love of my life? Is she going to be my future wife? That's definitely not how you want to go into first dates. You want to be seeing if you guys have things in common and all that, but it's impossible to find out all the information you would need to know if this would be a good relationship in one date. It's just impossible. So like get that out of your head. No, you don't have to have like magical chemistry on the very first date. Chemistry is important and it definitely helps you get to a second date. I help a lot of guys with that because it can be a struggle learning how to go from friendly to flirty with a stranger. It can be difficult, but honestly, all you should be worrying about at the end of the date is, did I enjoy my time with her? Would I enjoy seeing her again? If the answer is no, don't go on another date. If the answer is yes, and you would be at least interested in learning more about her, always go on the date. Always go on the second date. Always try to get the second date. There's just so much that you have yet to learn about each other to make that determination off of one date purely based off of if you felt the sparks or if you felt the chemistry. It's not very helpful because there's nerves, there's like all the get to know you crap that has to get out of the way on the first date, like so that you know like if you even have things in common. There's just so much that goes into a first date that it's reasonable to say you're not going to have all of the sparks in the world on date number 1. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times you don't.
And if you're feeling like it's a no after date 2, then it's just a simple thanks again for the time together. You're great. I'm just not feeling a romantic fit. And I wish you the best. Give the second date a chance and let that inform your decision. There doesn't have to be any people pleasing. Have that clean exit in your back pocket and move on. This is the process of dating. It's very normal. There's probably going to be one person that is the right fit for you and hundreds that are not. Yeah. So that's the way you should be thinking about this.
Absolutely. I saw somebody preaching about like, dating is supposed to be hard. You're trying to find the one person that
you're going to spend the rest
of your life. Telling yourself that this is so hard or it shouldn't be this hard is not helpful because it actually should be. You should want to spend a lot of time picking out your partner and making sure you are the right fit together. You want to spend the rest of your life together with, because at the end of the day, like they're the person that you're going to spend the most amount of time with. They're the person that you're going to do all the important things with. And so you should be taking the time on the front end to prioritize and make time for exploring options. It would be unreasonable to say that like you go on a few dates and you haven't met your partner and so therefore dating is hard and you don't want to do it anymore. It's like, well, you barely even gave it a shot. Like right. You got to be willing to explore it. You got to be willing to put in the actual effort for it.
Yeah. And I think, Anonymous, it's clear to us that you don't really have a dating problem. It's a clarity and follow through opportunity that you actually have. And so take our advice, make one clean offer and move on. Give chemistry 2 chances before you rule it out, and keep building on that quiet skill that carries you through this process of dating and honoring your own standards, especially when it's uncomfortable. We talk about it a lot, that building self-trust means that you're willing to be uncomfortable, that you expect this to be uncomfortable, and you remind yourself that you have the capacity to feel that and allow it to be there. So keep building that quiet skill that is going to carry you through this process and make you a stronger, more attractive man. And it's going to help you become the man that you want to be.
Yeah, you got this.
Yes, you do. And that concludes episode 45.
Be sure to find me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie. We look forward to seeing you right back here next week. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday. And in the meantime, no matter where you are, what your situation is, just ask her.